Now, we turn our attention to the fuel crisis and the possibility of global warming. This is Channel 5 News.
There is increased discussion about global warming and the fuel our country will need to survive in the future. There are many alternative fuel options, but which is the right one? A couple of citizens from North Carolina believe they know the answer to our country's problems. We now go live to Lizzie, who has a story. Lizzie? We're live.
Thank you, Jack. Biomass has become very popular in recent years and may become an important alternative fuel option for the whole country. North Carolina has a plan to take advantage of its agriculture advantages called the Strategic Plan for Biofuels Leadership. Here to talk about North Carolina's project is the leader of the Push for the Use of Biomass, Mr. Stephen Burke, Senior Vice President of Corporate Affairs at the North Carolina Biotechnology Center. Mr. Burke, why has North Carolina gotten behind the strategic plan to change where we get our energy?
Well, Lizzie, almost 5.6 billion gallons of petroleum-based liquid fuels are consumed by North Carolinians each year. North Carolina doesn't produce petroleum, so all that money that North Carolinians are spending doesn't go to our state's economy or our state's agriculture industry. North Carolina also has agricultural possibilities like producing canola, switchgrass, hulless barley, coastal Bermuda grass, industrial sweet potatoes, miscanthus, animal waste, algae, and forest-based resources that many states don't have. Our goal is that by 2017, 10% of liquid fuels sold in North Carolina will come from biofuels, locally grown and produced. A strategic convention took place to discuss alternative fuels between multiple states, and we believe that North Carolina can become a leader in the biomass industry between the states.
Those are very promising predictions. I hope that North Carolina can reach their economic goal in the next few years. Next, I interview a local who knows quite a bit about biomass and its possibilities. This is Jack, a biomass power plant owner and expert. Jack, how does biomass work?
Biomass refers to recently living organic materials such as wood, leaves, paper, food waste, manure, and other items usually considered garbage. The biomass is transformed into chemicals so it can be used to generate required energy.
What are some advantages and disadvantages of using biomass energy?
The advantages are that biomass usage is the lesser emissions of carcinogenic elements in the environment. The biomass is abundant in nature and is a renewable source of energy, and the source of energy is very cheap. The disadvantages are that large amounts of land are required to grow a large enough amount of biomass to produce biofuels.
What economic and environmental impacts does biomass have?
One impact of biomass is that in waste-to-energy conversion of biomass, there is a possibility of toxic heavy metal release, like mercury and cadmium, into the atmosphere. Also, CO2 is released into the air, which is a major greenhouse gas. However, through the process of photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is absorbed into the plants, which helps to balance out the CO2 it emits.
Do you believe that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages?
Yes, I do. There is plenty of matter that can be used as biomass energy, and the amount of CO2 that is emitted is balanced out with the amount that is taken in by the plants during photosynthesis. And all the possible materials for fuel are going to have some bad effects on the environment, so I feel that if our country as a whole can rely on a mixture of different alternative fuels like biomass, instead of using one source until it runs out, we will be able to conserve our resources for many more years and have less environmental effects.
How much does the U.S. already use biomass?
In the United States, we already get over 50 billion kilowatt hours of electricity from biomass, providing nearly 1.5% of our nation's total electric sales. The growth of biopower will depend on the availability of resources, land use and harvesting practices, and the amount of biomass used to make fuel for transportation and other uses.
Thank you, Lizzie. That really helped with the understanding of biomass as an alternative for fuel.
Did you know that Brazil, which is the 5th largest country, is completely independent of other nations for energy and uses ethanol to fuel its cars?
I did not know that.
Well, now you do. This has been Channel 5 News. Stay classy, Scarborough.